Cosworths at the back. John, back in Kirkistown and back in saloons. Quite a bit of history repeating itself here.
Yeah, it's been a few years now. I've been involved in more racing cars and sports racing cars in the past few years. But it's good to be back in saloons again.
Of course, it's the 40th anniversary of the circuit here, and you must have been there for quite a few of those years.
Oh, I think I've been coming up here since around 1963, or maybe even before that.
And those are great mini Grand Prix days.
Oh, fabulous mini days, yeah, the Eddie Regan days and all of minis, and the minis were the Formula 4s of that era.
But things are not good for John, whose Sierra has developed severe engine problems in practice. This is the view from championship leader Michael Cullen's Peugeot, which is on the second row of the grid.
And here is the grid. On the front row we have Mervyn Miller and Barry Barrowell. Barry on pole position, beside him Mervyn Miller. On the second row, on the inside, we have Joe Foley in number 3 in the blue car. All doors open at the moment, let a little bit of air in. It gets very warm in these cockpits. Now beside him, Michael Cullen in the DC car. He is the championship leader at the moment and will want to do a little better today to get a little more points, because these Peugeots very even this year. On the next row we have a very improved driver, Alan Dawson, and beside him Stephen Mealy from the North of Ireland, the only North of Ireland driver in the class. The Peugeot's the backbone of Group N, and a very good start there from Cullen. You can see immediately moving to the right hand side to try and get a quick run through the very fast left-hander, but it's Barrowell up front there in the white car, the Impact Ireland car. Not a great name to have on the back of a Peugeot, Impact. And 20 seconds later the big Cozzies move and you can see John Keeney being left on the grid.
And there's the battle of the Peugeots, and what a battle it promises to be. David Manley in the yellow car at the back of it, but we're aboard with Michael Cullen, and up front just to his right we've got Joe Foley, to his left we've got Mervyn Miller, and Barry Barrowell taking advantage of all this as he keeps out of the wars temporarily anyway and gets a little bit of a lead. We're coming down into the chicane now.
And again the chicane very, very tight indeed. Front wheel drive cars, all these cars very, very close indeed. And somebody out on the grass there is Joe Foley on the grass. A little mistake like that and he loses 2 places, but look just how close Cullen getting the drag down the straight. But in the distance you can see through the windscreen Barry Barrowell at this time with the Memorex Ryanair car coming down into the chicane or the hairpin, and again a battle royal behind. Cullen on the outside, not the best place to be. He's going to lose a place here. On the inside, somebody just trying to out-drag him as they come down for the very fast left-hander.
It's Dawson there with the big stripe of the car, quite distinctive, number 48, and right behind him, that's Mealy, who's come right up from the very back of that bunch. He's really flying. So Stephen Mealy, a man to look out for number 7. But Barry Barrowell in the lead amongst the Peugeots, and of course the Cosworths all the time closing in from behind.
And David Manley has gained 3 places. Unfortunately, that is the Cosworths of John Keeney making its way slowly back to the pits. But there's always the next day, John. By a while, back with Cullen, understeer again, being pushed out there. My goodness me, losing another place. Cullen is not having a good day, and 2 more places. There's the flying Manley. People say he leaves his brains in Dublin when he comes to race in Kirkistown, but already you can see he's moved up 5 places.
The Cosworths already, that's Gordon Kellett number 2, and just watch the power of these cars in the main straight, slicing literally through the Peugeots, and this is only lap 3.
Lap 3 indeed, and already Gordon Kellett moving in for the lead. He's moved up to 4th place ahead of David Manley. Manley got ahead of Cullen there, and there's Brian Ward in the black and white Cozzy trying to make his way through, but Cullen again looking at the back of Manley's car. As look at Ward from right to left taking 2 places, heading down to the fastest part of the circuit, this very fast left-hander, but again Cullen losing out slightly here.
And the Cosworths have to be very careful because, of course, these Peugeots are having their own battle. They're not too worried about the faster Fords coming up in amongst them. So Kellett, with all that power there, he can afford to almost wait now to the straights. As long as Brian Ward isn't too close to him, we just saw him go inside of another Peugeot as they come into this very fast double right-hander. Down he comes. He'll probably pick off 1 before the chicane, but Barrowell still leads. So it's Barrowell, Kellett, and then Miller, and then Ward. And then we have Alan Dawson up into 5th place at the moment. But watch this Cosworth go.
That little move by Kellett will give Barrowell a little breather because Miller had really climbed all over his boot. And look at the distance he's pulled out already. And Ward is going to move up into 2nd place. But the real battle we'll be watching will be amongst the Peugeots, because it's Barrowell still using the outside line there, not the quickest one that time because he's let Miller come right back onto his tail. So it's Barrable from Miller. Then the battle is Murray there, and there we have the Buckler car going through, and these Peugeots all seem to be very, very equal this year, but Ward beginning to make inroads on Kellett.
And the two Cosworths really pulling away, and here we now look at the Peugeot fight, and fabulous fight it is. So it's Miller at the moment. Miller's got ahead, and in second place Dawson, and then we really have quite a change around there. But there, number one is the current Dunlop champion, who's not having a good day.
His day is getting worse because Barry Barrable is moving down the outside there, and the Memericks car just about to slot in front of him as they come to the hairpin. Let's sit back and watch these heavy metal Peugeots.
So the battle rages on with Stephen Mealy making an impressive run up through the field. Meanwhile, it's Dawson up front, still Miller in second, still Manley third. Then we have Mealy just ahead of our camera car. And just 2.5 laps to go before the checkered flag.
Barrable hasn't given up yet, but Mealy is the man. He's come up from the back, he's been on the grass, he's been off the grass, he's been understeering, oversteering, but Dawson at the moment is the man to watch and takes this chicane beautiful, straight across the curbs on the exit. Does it beautifully. That's it, keep that left front wheel in the air. At the moment, Mealy has sights set on David Manley's place though.
And there, it's been a very bad day, as we said earlier, for the DC car. Back there in 5th place, he desperately needs points in his bid for 3 championships this year. But it's Dawson, 48, now under pressure from Mealy on the outside, who's bidding now for 3rd place, and there's no room there.
No, David Manley didn't really give him a lot of road, but then David's driving his own race. He needs all the road he can to stay in contention because he has his eyes set firmly on Mervyn Miller's place. But it's Dawson from Miller, from Manley. They lost out a little there, Mealy going down the inside line there. But remember that the next one is a right-hander, but he gets through just before that. But David Manley will have another look at that inside. And again on the outside, the championship leader, Michael Cullen, trying a desperate manoeuvre out the outside, doesn't get away with it. Manley getting in and onto the grass, that's not the quickest place to be. Manley again looking at the inside line of Mealy's, wouldn't be the quickest line. Meanwhile up front Dawson has it all his own, pulling a few car lengths out. But Manley now right on the boot of the Impact Ireland car, a little weave and a dive there, trying to unsettle Mervyn Miller. Remember, champion from points at stake. That's why Cullen is really putting in this tremendous effort through the chicane. But up front, look at Mealy deciding to have a look at that leadership position, cocking that back wheel under braking. And again, back into 3rd place goes Miller. 4th there is Manley. Michael Cullen now looking at the inside, but right on his boot. That's our leader. We can't ignore him. He's out in the lead, but the real battle is behind between the Peugeots. 2nd place, Brian Ward, just going through in the black and white Cosy, but the battle we are going to see is a battle royal.
And here it comes, and it's Dawson Mealy now really challenging for the lead on this very last lap. Miller being left behind a little bit, and the yellow car of David Manley really challenging for 3rd place. And isn't it fabulous? All these 7 Peugeots have stayed together for the entire race. We're on board again with Michael Cullen just behind the David Manley there in the distinctive yellow car in 5th place. And this is not good for his points at all.
Last time as they come up to the chicane, Dawson through, over the rumble strips, Mealy through, Miller through with Manley ever closing and Mealy having a look at that outside line. Now their last lap, that is not the place to do it. Our winner comes over the line and takes the checkered flag now. 2nd place Ward, but who will it be? The leading in Peugeots, and it's Mealy down that outside. He's ahead under braking, but he's just gone that little bit deep, and Manley comes shooting through late on the brakes, and Cullen has moved up 2 places. If he can hold that position, he'll actually beat Mealy to the line, and this will be a fantastic result for Michael Cullen from 5th to 3rd as they come to the line.
Dawson gets it. In 2nd place, Miller. 3rd is Cullen, and there you see the championships. Kellett and Cullen tie at the top of the points. And Alan Bremner has a